Hello, welcome to Get Your Mind On. I'm Lori Stohs. So we think about communication. We've been talking about the different ways of showing up and you communicating to others. Today we're going to dive in specifically to thinking about eye contact. When you think about some of those conversations that you've had, how does it feel when you're having that conversation looking into each other's eyes? Is that intimidating? Is that warming? Is that welcoming? Is it difficult for you to do? So when we think about eye contact is an essential part of communication. And when we really think about looking back into why eyes, what's so special about the eyes? Well, eyes were made to connect. When you think about all the primates, there's 221 primates in the world today, and you think about our eyes, humans were made with the whites in their eyes for a purpose to connect, where all the other primates don't necessarily have whites in their eyes. And so they're made to connect. They're made to create an emotional bond. They're made to make people feel important and create attention when our eyes connect. So why is it so difficult for us to create eye contact? Sometimes it might feel like it's a vulnerability. It might feel like we're letting people in. You know, there's that comment about peering into people's souls. You might feel like, somebody's really getting into me too close, and we don't want to let people in close. The other thing is it's a fear of rejection. When you think about if you create eye contact with someone and they look away, when you're both creating that connection, it might be a fear of rejection that they might, not like something that they say. And what's interesting is when you think about that, think of a time maybe when you were visiting with somebody, having eye contact with them, and all of a sudden that they, looked over your shoulder and peered away at somebody else, and you lost that connection. How did that feel? So sometimes when that happens, we don't feel important. So we recognize that importance of eye contact, but it's difficult for us to do. So when we think about the benefits of taking some time to create eye contact, what are those benefits? Well, really, we know relationships are important. Creating that genuine openness, that connection with each other is important. Whether we're, pitching something to someone, building that trust between the relationship, whether we're working together on a project, building trust, creating openness, awareness. People can read a lot in other people's eyes. When people say they have bright, shiny eyes, that's that emotion of people getting excited, or when they're uncertain, and they kind of wrinkle their eyes. There's a lot that you can see if somebody's disturbed about something. So when you think about the benefits of reading and understanding eye contact, there are so many benefits. Whether you're, speaking in front of a group and you can kind of read their body language in their eyes to see what they're thinking, whether that's an individual or a group, it's really important to do that. So you may think about, how do you go about it? So, I really haven't thought about my eye contact. So first is thinking about how do you go about it? If you're not naturally open to it and you haven't been doing it as much or aware of it, obviously you don't want to start by piercing someone in the eyes, just staring at them. But it's nice to have that instant connection. But many times it's nice to follow like a triangle motion. When you're looking at someone, not to look them and pierce them in their eyes, but to look more holistically at their face. And you don't have to be piercing right in the eyes the whole time of the conversation to think that you're not paying attention. But when you think about a nice easy way might be a triangle, to start with one eye, move to the other eye, and then go down to the mouth. And so then kind of creating that triangle in your vision around looking at their whole face, so it doesn't feel like you're moving your head, but you're just physically moving your eyes just slightly, not very dominantly. So that's kind of a nice way if you want to think about your eye contact and how to really work on your eye contact. The other thing is you might think about practicing, right? A way to practice is on TV, which is kind of interesting when maybe you're watching a news reporter, just looking at them in the eyes and watching their eyes. So you can kind of start without people in front of you if you're kind of shy about it. Or of course, if you're just working with different people, moving from a person to person and looking at the different eye contact amongst them, so it doesn't feel like you're in a glaring stare. So those are some simple ways to think about it. Another thing to consider with eye contact is you might be able to really understand the personalities of individuals more and more as you work together and watch the eye contact. So first, even thinking about yourself and your personality, some of us are maybe a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more open, and maybe can move things along and create that conversation and kind of be in control of that. Those individuals are usually the ones that are able to have direct eye contact with individuals and keep that glance and that eye contact going through that period of time. Those individuals who are maybe a little bit more thoughtful, they think a lot. You might think of some of those individuals that you know, that you'll be talking to them and their eyes just kind of go up, or their head even may tilt a little bit, that they're thinking about something. Those may be very thoughtful people that you work with that maybe need to process, and as you're having a conversation with them, you process, they're processing, and their eyes move into the way they're processing. Other individuals, maybe who are a little bit more shy and timid, they may move their eyes from side to side, or they may look down. So as you're having conversations, you might be looking at them, but they might look away or look down every so often. You know, they're not as comfortable with that. Those people usually need a little bit more space, and that's okay. So just know that and understand that. If someone like that needs some space, the other thing to do in addition to eye contact is move your body back a little bit, so they're not feeling like you're coming too close to them. So, we'll talk about more of those as we move forward, talking about posturing and presence. But sometimes when individuals, you can see that happening, the worst thing you can do with eye contact is lean in, pierce them, with your eyes when they're trying to pull back a little bit. So that's kind of talking about matching what they're doing. So be aware of that with eye contact with different individuals. So it's kind of interesting as you really think about the eye contact with different personality types as you get to know people, is first think about who you are, right? And what's your eye contact and the way you connect with others, and then be aware of what theirs is as well. For positive charge this week, first take some time to be aware of your eye contact. I think awareness is the biggest thing. So what is your eye contact? Are you able to maintain that with people very easily, or is it difficult for you? Second is, if it's difficult for you, just think about using the triangle method in terms of watching someone this week. And third, think about the other party that you're visiting with and be aware of their eye contact in terms of maybe the type of person they are, and matching where they're coming from to create a comfort level for both of you. We know eye contact is essential in a communication. It's all about the eyes, right? It's all about the eyes, those shiny eyes, those scared eyes, those eyes that are able to show excitement and fear. So really think about this week about eye contact and how it's an essential part of our communication building in our world every day. Thanks for joining us today, and remember to get your mind on.